consider the ordinance. The hearing will be conducted as follows. I will make the opening statements and set any ground rules. When testifying, please give your name and address for the record. For those of you testifying, please give testimony related to the application and be as concise as possible. Although this is not necessary in most hearings, we may have to limit the testimony to no more than 3 minutes. Does any member of the audience have any objections to the city council's jurisdiction in this matter? Does any member of the city council have a conflict of interest with regards to this request? If so, please indicate the nature of your conflict of interest and leave the council table if necessary. Does any council members have pre-hearing contact with any party involved in this case, either for or against the proposal? If so, please explain the pre-hearing contact. I will have Alex McCabe, the city administrative reporter, read the ordinance in its entirety, unless someone on the council would like to make a motion to have the title read only. The city recorder has fulfilled the charter requirement for the ordinance to be read by title.
I make a motion for him to read the ordinance.
All right, so this is an ordinance that will primarily put a cap of 7,500 gallons on water usage for our utility users during water restriction months. The main reason we're proposing this is that the wells are doing historically poorly this year. The budget we had for water acquisition ended up being a lot lower than what we would have needed. There's really no way to predict this, but we definitely didn't predict it. I was hoping that last year would be a benchmark to go with, but it isn't. So because we're spending so much money on trucking water to meet demand, we proposed this ordinance to cap gallons of usage per month at 7,500. There are some other things in here we added. One, there's currently a permit in place in one of our city's resolutions that allows city staff to consider allowing people to go over the or to have a waiver from certain restrictions if they present an application and pay a fee. It's the same fee as our driveway fee. So that would be, the idea would be to add in that same waiver here and make sure that there's a waiver for properties in that same fashion. We also have a process now to put in a process to address leaks. We had somebody with a big leak last month and realized we didn't really have much of an enforcement procedure to deal with it. It was kind of like, hey, we can call up and say, hey, we have a leak. They go, well, we don't think so. Well, nothing in our ordinance prescribes what we're supposed to do. Yeah.
There's something up to the middle maybe and take it out of all.
Yeah.
And they their lead from their Houston medical league was 21,000 gallons per month. And then just for the council's reference, they would go just under 2,100, probably not 21,000. But if they what was it? If they only double that to truck it in, plus that's not counting the cost of the water. So if you're running a business, that's a good way to business time. You're not going to keep the cost.
Yeah. So lastly, there is an emergency clause in this. So for those who don't know, the city charter and state constitution emergency clause is basically the same. It is a legal instrument that allows the ordinance to go into effect immediately. We are not declaring a state of emergency. That's a different legal instrument. This is an emergency clause under the city charter. So that's where we're at with this ordinance. I do want to make sure people know that we are looking at every available option to improve the city's water system. We did secure a grant from the state legislature this year, the working tandem with IFA loan, to add a well to the city's water system. Hopefully get that done within the next 2 years. Our deadline to get it done is summer of 2025, so we have until then to build the well and add it in. So it's not like we're doing nothing. We've probably made more progress this year than we have in the last 10 years, getting this situation addressed so that we're not hauling the water constantly, wrecking our budget. So that's what we have here so far.
We started trucking.
I guess the other thing to add is that there's only a handful of properties that actually go above 7,500. And it's probably less than a dozen people who are actually even getting this close. Yeah, there you go. That's 11. So it's not like there's half the town's doing this. We're going to cut off water. It's a specific group or a specific set of properties. A lot of people are conservatively staying well below that.
43% of the 25.
Yeah. Okay.
They'll be above, yeah. Many mentioned, council, well, yeah, that was gonna be my first question, is like, how many people will, 7,500 expect, I mean, if it was over. But the percentage we were talking about, I'd be a little worried, I'd want to bump that up a little bit, but considering we're below that, we're all right. This 21,000 gallons, has this been the problem property that we had the last couple months? Okay. But I have that next week, but just waiting, because I have some comments that are not going to be maybe help in that situation, but I don't know if that's the time.
Yeah, next week I'm going to bring more than
I guess that those were my concerns of how many people will just be affected. But you guys answer that, but I don't need to go in depth on that. Because some of them they're month after month. Yeah, but it's not fair to everybody else in terms of each on water. And I don't know why they're using that much water. Every month they are, even July. Leaks. I thought we had something like that. Well, because the last time around, so the first, yeah, I don't.
I have a question. Do we have, you said it was 400, they were billed $700, but it was more than twice.
We were billed like 98.
So
And it cost us over 1,200 plus the cost of the water to take it in.
for that amount of water.
Yes,
Yeah,
So what are we doing to,
that's why I suggested, in the past, but the higher tiers, really need to have the ball account. We're losing money every time.
not as a punishment, but more as a what's equitable and fair. Is you use a lot more when you're running restrictions, you should be the one saying we should not always sharing the cost of someone using a lot of.
And I thought we addressed that when we raised the rates.
We just barely bumped anything.
Because that's 4 truckloads. Our trucks what, 4,000 gallons or 3,500?
Yeah, 4,500.
So I mean, yeah, that's 4 truckloads of water just for that.
$2 per trip.
Yeah,
That's
so
$150 each hour.
and we're doing 3 truckloads a day or 4?
It's
What?
1 to 5.
Good.
But for that, it'd be just over 4.
Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to get clear.
So within what we're doing tonight, do we have the ability to change the rate for over 7,500 or over whatever?
You know what we had talked about is for somebody that's using over the 7,500, if they come in and fill out a form, you can let us know. this is the reason that I have to have that much water, and it can be approved through the council, you know, like the school. The school's gotta have more than that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess it'd be, obviously, I got 4 people in my house, and I'm running, 70,000 to 7,500.
Awesome. Have almost 3 or 4 families.
Yeah, so I mean, that'd be 4,000 per family, and I go to 5,000 gallons per family in that house.
Jeff probably last time so that he could put his input into the meeting, and when he's had his daughter and their family living with him, they still stayed under 5,000. Jeff personally feels like we should have it at 5,000, but I think that that's too much.
But I really think there has to be a motivation to really conserve water. And I don't think people think with thirst because there's always water there. And the fact that we're not gonna have water, I don't think these people have to be wrong.
And the people that don't live on a ridge or a skid, they don't see that truck going all day long and have to go to kind of either. No, I didn't. 2 days a week, water. Last year, we were only trucking in 1 day. We're doing 20
Right now, we're scouting about we lose charges Apple, but
Each charge is right in 50 an hour, no drought one is 300.
therefore that we spend $85,000. Water. And when you start talking to Lebanon or Lynn County and things like that, they don't want to take over. We're, if we fail, then everybody better plan on doing their own way. Because if the city fails, nobody wants to come in.
And it's been not over issuing water rates, so that's not being.
Destiny, all people wishing to testify on behalf of the board meeting will now testify. The end of the name and address for the record.
083901. Good. My name is, I was trying to figure out, we were talking about that, I just was trying to really hard to discuss. Is there, how would that work? I'm gonna take a little bit of water to do my stuff.
What's your reason?
My ear. Upper right in the corner, we'll study your gallons. Because I'm not staying out. I've been on my business, but I'm not sure. I've been through it and trying to figure out ways to improve. When I need to talk about stuff, how would I know? How would everyone know even? And not being able to hear it.
Here's to help you out with that. Every Monday, unless it's already like Monday and Tuesday, and the first of every month, I read all of these. So every Monday, if there's and I believe it's quarter gallon a minute for 8 hours, then your meter will tell you that it's possible. And I want you to contact that. Yeah, and I think it's
Well, that's what I was worried about too, is living in the manufacturing world is all the fighting. Yeah, well, and my problem is with fighting in that house. It's all told, though it's that is already from yellow, which means when it's turning yellow, it's spring. And so that's when, that's why I was like, how do I know if I'm having a leak or whatever, you know, now. I know.
We have money meters that they go good, and after the first week, if it's a new one, the first week, I will notify you. And if it's somebody that has it periodically, because whatever the energy gardening or whatever, then after 2 weeks, I will report that. Hopefully they actually on it, we can figure it out and
But blend it, you know, like, you know, it was nice last year. I only use like 3 gallons of water. And I had my garden, you know, with water and that. So I'm trying to figure out, you know, how I, 30. Like, you know, there's relook in my garden because I have a lot of garden. I've got a thing, 9 containers. And you know, it's not if you start, you know, to research, you know, water saving gardens, you know, putting straw over the top.
Evaporation, watering only your plants. You know, it's actually the drip system
Within use less water.
Well, see, that's what I look at, and that's one of the things that I look at all the time. Trying to figure out how I can do it and do everything, and have anything, and I don't want to go over the side.
Doctor, knowing, you know, what happens if they do. Have my. How do we go about it? Oh, yeah, probably won't sell on, but we gotta know how that is.
You just got to contact us. You know, if you're over a big, shut your water out, we're not, you know, we still, but are reasonable people. You know, we are. And, you know, at my house where my water comes in, I can go back there and I can hear something in the water. If I ever had a leak under my house, I would know it because I can hear the water main. Being in mine, yeah. It would.
Then you can go out and you know you're not using any water, you know what's going on. So track your meter for a couple hours and see if there's any movement.
if there's water flowing, your meter will stay flowing. There's a little tiny. But if you only have, and I, you know, the new ones, they update the gallonage every 45 seconds, I believe it is. And down below that, there's a little green LED light that'll say flow and leaks. And the leak will fail and you have to stop the flow, which we have at school today. Their leak will not clear till midnight tonight. That's when they read themselves. And I can go do it if somebody requests. I can go to their house and do an individual read on their meter. That will go 180 days back. When I do the weekly read, it's just reading for between that read and the last week. I'm going to do the meter and do a daily read for that meter. But yes, it's pretty flowing, it's going.
So my other thing would be, what was our highest that we ever did? All right. Can get that on, yeah. And I don't know, yes, I don't want to find out, I want to make sure is, I don't want to hear everything. At a reasonable.
Yeah, don't take out the computer.
Yeah, so do provide that.
That's why I'm.
Well,
Find out.
yeah, I mean, you talked about, you know, watering your garden, under our restriction ordinance, watering your garden for plants is sacred as well, so. I mean,
That, you know, this, I think,
yeah, you do see. You're on the, you know, like you said.
Yeah.
You're good.
Do it at night. Not, but I want to make sure that houses can work.
One thing is like,
your restrictions over years is, be familiar with your gallons. So like, you don't understand where you're running that in the summer, and then you'll get a good baseline for the winter, because it's covered for everything.
But what I'm trying to get at. You know, understanding what you guys are having to go through to understand. That's good. Yeah.
You know, the things I did, because you know I'm old, is I put timers on every single one of my faucet outlets. Because I got distracted, because I'm gonna really get through on that water. So even if I get distracted, it's gonna stop watering 5 minutes or 6 minutes.
It's like, add the, if you, just over that water tank, if I'm gonna get a turn water, turn off water. And I got people. Just go ahead and show them. You don't get the water, just add it. And first, when I turn it off, it just happens. Little bit of. You probably, I just want to don't. This is what happens. You have to be so confident that it's very. You know what, those little fragments are being tied and sort of that's what my neighbor was getting some big water bills, they've got all their pets and everything they have in order to bless their garden. And they like to teach their kids to help with it. So she goes out and pushes her button that's with 10 minutes on it, and if the kid forgets to shut it off automatically. And then you're not gonna be running water. I don't know how. Maybe the orange tile and they're not even money.
We had one gentleman why had water keeping close at the end, so there was no hose blowing out. So we just need to move the leak, so. Well,
Well, we got a new one, so it's one of the.
So it was JV, like,
Is that, you're gonna look for it when you go home. So one of the things I want to do this time again, or well, you know, we'll then put the problem that we get. You know, and you know, is where down. It gave me that.
What? That when I fell out of the water, how much usage? I thought, there's no way. We don't have showers. We don't have an active partner at school. We don't have or anything. We have toilets and drinking fountains. Those are our two things. And we have a 3-thing dish washing system working. So it shocked me, and so we thought, and our maintenance guy, we went up, and that's when he said, I'm gonna go take a picture of that meter. You know, so we did check my house, and there was a leak. So we got it today. But I'm still stunned. I'm stunned.
Was registering as a leak, the best I can tell, it was such a small drip until water was being used. And then the flow was forcing more water out, because the main stop maintenance guy, he was able to watch it, and when they flushed the toilet, it was just pouring like just the drip on the valve. Instead of the drip went through. So it's kind of what I'm thinking for.
That. We're just talking, I'm doing
It's true. I tried looking last year, and I don't go back that far with my system. So, but it looked like it's right around 1,500 gallons or 16,000 gallons.
One, I can't even fathom. There is God, and again, doing it for a few months. There is a time of serving water coming off that hill on this. One of the reasons we built the fence, to be really honest with you, the water pours off that hill. So now we're thinking of doing some kind of a drain with a pipe and stuff in it, because it just pours off. We laptop all around, big there and back, and it just pours off in it. Just runs down toward the school. So now we're thinking, well, just, I guess you call it a curtain drain probably, and get that water to the state test. So it's pouring on there. Well, the thing that I thought since day one, when I heard about all the building and property and all that stuff, is all the fair houses up there. And where's all the poop water going? Septic water. They don't know how to it, right? I'm going to come. So I have one big question. How much building is going on? Are we still building houses?
Sodaville, yeah.
There's
Other than the houses for the house.
yeah, the one that's called water. And then one that will be just out by your pen. And it's the only two lots that really got anywhere involved.
The only other property that has lots, I'm not gonna sell it.
Yeah.
Because they're lying. Couple of the same way.
Let's see if I can question. You think I know? Why are we building our homes? Yeah, not just some of the old people. They wonder why houses were built 20 years ago.
The habitat technology have been in the works for years. We actually traded the park for those lots. And it just took them years to actually,
Water and I would have we are trying that. That's how bad I think it is for us. Is that just rain?
There's multiple things we can address about that, but that's part of the TVML stuff that we've been talking about. Especially with you, like we should lock the building, create retention ponds, and it's like that out of just drinking water, and just use that. In theory, we could do a retention pond and an access road behind to capture water. You know, our infrastructure is very low, a lot of our city ditches that aren't open, so there's nowhere for the water to properly drain. I mean, there's probably be a drainage system that's done, like counties, they're not working. I mean, I have to take all of my neighborhood. I just don't right on the hill when the city put in the street, and I asked where all that water was gonna get to this place, and they said, and it started washing my market, you know, because all that water is coming downhill and my city streets that I'm over getting washed away. But the same situation, a little different, you know, I don't have a nice asphalt, but I think that's something that we should address to take care of.
We had that when we first, because there was not a road around that building when we bought the property. So we put it so we could have a circle drive. So when that happened, we put a ditch in that along the fence. Well, neighbors, I guess, thought that they didn't want that ditch there. So the neighbors took it out. And the fence, which everybody was coming at me saying, oh, you make them put that in, you know, I said, that's the last thing I'm gonna do is one nonprofit fighting with another nonprofit. So I'm gonna go. So now, because that's what happened. There was a ditch there. It is now gone.
Maybe I'm ready to make you feel better about the water. I'm at the top of the hill.
Uh-huh.
I get water running down my property like you was earlier. I had to put a big Persian drain up, way up above my house. Then I put a second one at my house. And on both sides of it, right now I've got a creek running down my property. You know, so I
Well,
don't
do you
think,
have anybody above
I
you?
don't,
That's my,
but
that's the difference.
I don't think that, you know, the septic tanks, back in Idaho, I used to be licensed to do septic tanks and stuff. And most of the time, the septic doesn't go to the end of the leach field. Most of the time, it evaporates a lot quicker than that. Now, my drain field goes almost to my neighbor's property. And I keep an eye on where my grass is growing, because I don't want to be running sewer out down into his house. But it doesn't even come close to it. I think that the septic tanks work better than what people get.
I asked, was it you, JD, that I asked about the well or? But why people don't have wells? Oh, yeah.
A lot of
And
the
you have both?
yeah,
So I was told that there was a contamination on the wells.
In the 1970s.
So that's when most of them got shut down.
they didn't get shut down because of that. When the city put in the water system, they said it's an all or none. So that's why everybody that lives here, even though I've got wells, if I strictly use them, I would still have to pay the city for my water bill. Because that's the only way they could put in the system is if everybody did it. And that's why everybody abandoned their wells, because why use your well if you have to pay for the city water?
I just don't understand.
In the house. As well as.
Well,
Documentation.
I think there was a mandate also, but that's the only way the city creates revenue. With that, I mean, I have a well on my property, you can see where it comes into my house, you can see where the pipes been cut and capped and. You know, in the city stuff, so.
Two of my wells are 10 feet from each other. One's drilled 75 feet, one's drilled 110. The one drilled 75 feet pumps our private well, not the water. That's why.
That would make, if you help the city then.
And we actually looked at that at one time, but on where my wells are, they're right next to my driveway. And you have to have a certain amount of area around that well. That's why we're working on the Jackman well. Because we've tested his well, it produces a ton of water, it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's just a matter of time before we get that piped into the system. Once that happens, you know, for a while, we're hoping that we're done with the water problem. You know, down the road in 10, 20 years, we might have to hook in with lemon. But right now, Sodaville can't afford to hook in with lemon.
Yeah, probably about 10 minutes.
No, I looked at it.
On just in the current amount of our property taxes, it would take us 964 years to pay off the principal.
See, that's why it's so important for Sodaville water system to stay active, because without water, nobody cares about Sodaville down
Nobody.
there. They don't.
I know that.
Everybody else as well.
I hate to say it, I hate to say it, I'm 18 in big city. And after being in the military, it came all. Being in the big city, big towns and all the other stuff. I have a phobia to. And people don't understand why I kind of back off. You know, because I don't want to.
Yeah, and that's why we really like when people show up to our meetings like this, because most of the people in Sodaville don't have no clue what's really going on.
Well, I hate to say it, everybody needs to know, and they need to be involved, I mean, as a community. And to me, you know, we were part of Sodaville. We lived there for 9 years. We dealt with stuff there. Then now we're here. So it's like, I want to make sure that we're a community, that, you know, we try to work together. There's a few of them I've already met that I don't care for too well. And they like me through it, but like I said, it's anywhere. But, you know, it's like, we all need to work kind of together and strong. So.
We'll be having you for committees. And I was going to hold it, I because when I moved here, no one told me there was a water issue, when I got my first fine. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I've been on for 20 to 25 years, I want to be part of the solution.
So that's what got me involved when I was talking to him about. When he came and put the door notices on, I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? What's our problem? Is this area? You know, and trying to get a little insight about a little insight. Now it's like, I want to find out why can't we fix it? Why does this community not follow this stepping up and making it work?
Well, I'll tell you, when I first moved into Sodaville, I came to some meetings and I ended up on here to be the head of the citizens committee, where I went around door to door to everybody in Sodaville and tried to get them involved in what was going on and talk with them and explain, you know, what council was doing, got opinions, things like that. Just figured out because nobody wanted
It's each generation has done different things. They have their own mindset. And it makes it harder. I mean, I was raised that, you know, you respect everybody and not who it was, you know, and try to do that with each other. And that's how that's
a new concept. It's moving.
Okay, so I'm gonna move on.
Okay.
Do we need council members have any questions?
The permits for going over the 7,500 that we used previously before that Saturday is a permit I recommended based on my previous experience elsewhere, being able to, what if I need to really power wash my walkway while it's sunny, so how do I do that? Because I've got more watering and that's not allowed.
Running the truck from Jackson.
Right, so the way that ordinance or permit, whatever it is, I don't think it needs to be tightened up, be able to be used for when we have to go to 7,500. Because it doesn't talk about that, the primary purpose was for a usage if you want to use outdoor water inside of the restriction. So I think that one needs to be tweaked as to how long, because I was asked as to how long is it good for, because we for a day, a month, a gallon.
Well, a lot of restrictions only allow for household use and for edible plants. And it doesn't still allow yet for your pressure washing.
Right,
Or anything like
that's
that.
what the permit was for, is to be able to, because I wanted to pressure wash.
Not the permit we're talking about right now.
But we're talking about the permit
So,
that is in place, so that one, which is just for.
yeah, so the way that I think it was done originally was not done super well by city staff at the time. Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea, and I can appreciate it. Certainly, I just think that city staff, they created the wrong tool to use it, and that they created a resolution that by its nature cannot supersede an ordinance. And the ordinance itself needs to be amended. And that's what we're doing tonight, is adding all of that language in that resolution to this ordinance. And it says here, you know, the use of water above 7,500 gallons per month during water restriction periods will be determined on a case-by-case basis. The cost of submitting a permit will be the same as a driveway permit. And the city recorder, in cooperation with the public works director, will determine if a water restriction is allowed or denied.
What is
And
it, what it costs?
like $25. That's true.
I think it should be a little higher in person. There, but the important, if we need to cap it, then that price needs to be
I think it's,
considerably higher.
I don't know, if my question would relate to this more of the next ordinance, but, I would like to know how we're gonna address when the person hits 75 gallons. Will they be shut off immediately, or will that be like a notice, like, hey man, like. You're on thin ice here.
What my thought is, and we've kind of briefly discussed it, is I take readings every week. Is, I don't have in my part of that app, mine doesn't do the financial stuff and calculating their usage. Or just does that more stuff. Yeah. So I read them, he'll evaluate where they're at. And when they're close to that 70.
So when we're putting it up on like 68 or 70,000.
I didn't report that, I think there is 5,500.
I just want to make sure there's something where it's just like all of a sudden you get, you show up. And you're like, well, I had no idea, right?
A driveway permit is $60. So anybody who's planning on going over $7,500, over $700, would have to contact me and go, hey, I'm going to probably go over that. Can I apply? And then I would look at their request and I would say either yes or no based on what.
I still think it should be higher considerably.
And then is there a cap? Or is it getting go over 7,500 to whatever you want?
Well, and this is where I guess where might benefit from some legal review about what our options are, is that I imagine the school's going to go over to 7,500, having hit the school.
We have over 100 kids.
Yeah, so
They got 40-year-old toilets, the same.
Yeah.
Kids can come.
yeah. And basically, at this time, the school's the only entity that I really foresee needing to go above that and having justifiable reasons because their children are.
Well, it's kind of a school, I mean, we're saying right here, I think which will allow center school to use additional water, so.
Yeah, and that's what the permit is for, is that to allow the school to use that water.
How old, how old are the restrooms and sinks and stuff in that store, are they originals?
Because right there, trying to.
Yeah, like,
I remember what you're talking.
I mean, finish my thought. Right. Is there any way you can do any type of fundraising or things to get low usage stuff into that school? I mean, for future down the way, just.
We're looking at finding a grant to help replace those buffer with like push button things that turn off after 15 seconds or so.
Well, now the thing, I'm gonna go property that not property down. One of the ones that have, but doesn't, they wouldn't find that banks are gonna do more support the city's budget to be able to go and prepare for them. But anyway, so that's the issue for theirs. I want to make sure that.
Well, Mary, one of the things that I feel drawn to is, as a council member, is being able to respond back to citizens when they have a question. And I very much appreciate the school is there. I just want to be able to respond that, you know, here I am, pretending it's me. I'm eating buckets of water from cooking and I'm using those outside. What is the school doing? Because those people don't even live here all the time. They just, so for us to be able to say, you know, the school is great, having new stuff is wonderful. That's not going to happen right away, and that's going to take money. So, so yeah, really to say that, you know, the school is aware, they're our partner, and, you know, they're monitoring the kids as much as you can in the restroom, that, you know, they're not doing, just so we can represent to our citizens who may be saying, wait, you know, I think it would be more water. Because now we come out with our, you know, our needs and stuff saying, well, the school uses this much. So I just want to be able to represent the community partners, people in here, yes, we're all living our part in the city was doing it. So.
Yeah, if you take a ratio of people, not very good, you're talking about family use in 7,500, use it not even if it is 20,000. We have a whole number of people there. Right, but they don't live here, they don't sleep here, they don't live here, they don't shower here, so it's plugged. So yeah, I just had some people say, be able to say that we're all in this together, we're doing our part. Right. Well, especially when we did the step outside, and not be really how much we use, and I just thought that can't be right, stop, that's not logical. And we don't do it, no showers, no baths, no, all the things you use water for. But, so immediately, as soon as we found out, we went out, checked the meter and turned on. It's leaking, so we fixed it this morning.
The whole reason that we're here right now is we have families using that like water.
Yeah.
So it's understandable for a school, but in the conditions that we're in, we've got to do something.
And I'm sure even we can do things, we've already kind of talked about, we got fancy new drinking fountains this year, but maybe we try to find out those things there. We got a couple of those, maybe we just go to that, kids don't have their water bottle.
You might have your maintenance guy look at the toilets and see if he can bend the float so that the water level, because my granddaughter goes in the bathroom and flushes the toilet even if she doesn't use it.
Right.
And all kids are like
I don't
that.
use
So
water.
You're right. I did. I heard that on Facebook.
I actually communicate bottles, gel, just in case. That way we don't have to use.
I thought in the chamber.
Yeah.
I just saw that on Facebook. Yeah. So there's things we can do. That's
those old toilets, you've got a float in there on the rod, that's what shuts them off. And you can bend that down so that the water level ain't coming out.
right.
And that's gonna take a gallon from every light. So there any by in opposition of this ordinance? Does any council members or staff have any further questions? Do any other people wish to testify about the ordinance?
I have a question. So if, we hope it never happens, if someone comes to have more water cut off. That is per month, per billing period, and does it automatically come back on when, whenever the first of the month, when we go out and start our billing period.
Yeah, I would anticipate that basically if somebody gets to that point, they can come in and they can file a permit going, here's why I'm using more than that, can I? And then I get to say yes or no, and if they don't like the answer to no, they can appeal it to the city council.
But if somebody has their water cut off, what turns it back on?
Yeah, end of the billing cycle or going through the process of applying for use over the 7,500. Ideally, when I'm monitoring the water use and I look over, when I call people and go, hey, you're at 5,000 gallons, whatever it is, just so you know, if you go over 7,500, you're just gonna get shut off and you're going to come and sign a form explaining why you need more than 7,500. And if I believe it's not really just cause, it can be denied, you're gonna have to ask the city council for permission to use more. So people will get that very stern warning. It's gonna be turned off.
And is there anything about the people who are in overuse, they're overusing water and they're not paying?
I mean, we already have have a process for dealing with arrearages. So,
It's a good thing in the worst case scenario, someone's using a lot of water and good thing they're not paying using overage water. Because good thing they're not paying, that should factor into whether they get the permit, because there ain't anything that needs to.
so, yeah, there's a schedule that's posted. I don't know.
Pretty.
So there is a schedule for how much we charge per tier, and that is available on our website, and the website with all of that information. The first tier, 2,500 gallons, is 47, and then after that,
$47.
$47 for 25 gallons.
45.
Mm-hmm.
43%.
I maybe think at some point we could talk about during first year. It's gonna cost a lot of money. It's a lot
The
more.
upper tier,
Yeah.
not the lower tier.
So. Anyone who is testify, they will follow. That any of the testimony is that often. Before I close for continued public hearing, are there any additional questions from council members who shall? Of anyone that has testified? Once the hearing has been closed, only council members or staff may speak. The hearing is now closed. The city council shall now discuss the ordinance and make a decision.
So by order of discussion, did you change anything in the ordinance that needs to be?
So we ultimately didn't change anything in the ordinance. But we talked about, I think, about 2 guidance for the administrative procedure for implementing the ordinance. We can go back to the council meeting and go, here's what we talked about, here's how we're gonna do it. We call that legislative intent. As it's understood by the body adopting it, that's therefore it has to be done. The council is free to ask for amendments in the future if they think it needs to be done more tightly. We can workshop that. That is all up to you.
So are we wanting to vote on this?
Yeah, tonight is what we would suggest is voting on this, and then, in the future, if we think there's a problem, or in our implementation, we see, what, this needs something grounded, written in there, we can amend it, but our recommendation is to do it tonight, because the bills just aren't keeping up, we need to do something. That's to get, so that's the text of the ordinance, so it's from that.
Yeah, that's. This is adopting this.
Is adopting. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's confusing because you have ordinance 2010 and then you have
what talks about kind of, it talks a little bit about 2311, so. So,
Yeah, because the 2311 actually talked about water restrictions and leaks and what we're going to do, but 2310 is just relating to the water restrictions and declaring an emergency. So I don't get
They're
it.
not different, okay. These were not numbered correctly. That was a, no, like that.
so is it all 2310 and it's just sections of 2310?
The last ordinance we passed was ordinance 2309. So this needs to be ordinance 2310. It looks like on the second page, I accidentally wrote 11, maybe because the previous page said 10.
Because
But this is ordinance
I should have
2310.
been focusing my attention to the fact.
Yes, that would-
I thought this was like a-
This is it's the staff summary describes what's in it. And answers, provides information about enforcement and procedure. But the ultimate ordinance we're adopting is,
So I spent this whole time on this thinking that this was next.
So this is almost like a regurgitation of the other part. It's all kind of covered in here. We talked about the cap at 7,500 per month, case by case basis, the restriction permit, the driveway permit, the what we do if there's a leak.
Well, I would have been more focused on this. So I want to remove my motion. If I can. Because that was, yeah, I already said what I thought was happening.
So the reality of this is, part of the reason, and correct me if I'm wrong, that we're wanting this to be an emergency is because we had a 22,000 gallon leak that wasn't being addressed. It has been, is being addressed because
There's a couple of them.
I think that the biggest thing that is looking at this is, if you look at the top 10 users that are all upwards of 15,000 and over. And the trucking,
right.
we're losing money.
There are multiple people out there, homes, meter users, however you look at it. There are multiples out there that on the 25th of the month, have door tags that they had a possible leak. And of those, they both had leaks for over 21 days. One of them's actually about 2.5 months. But I have nothing telling me that I can do anything, or telling them that I can do anything about it. The one chick got their bill, and all of a sudden, that's what did it for them, but the other one, still nothing, and, yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't want to delay this any longer, but I definitely want Joseph to feel comfortable with saying yea or nay. So, don't want to put another week to do this. Nothing says we have to hurry, so.
The council still has the table, we can still discuss it.
So the 2310 and the 2311 confused me, but if we have something in there that says there really is no 2311, it's 2310, and everything on these pages is 2310. That's
I failed to prove for you typo materials this time.
So this will be effective immediately, right?
Yeah, well, that's written effective.
You know, and we can, we should table it for me, we can put our council meetings next week.
Worst case scenario, yep.
Now, the work we could have been dealt with. The other one's not as bad, but it's still not good.
I was under the impression when we did the water stuff last time. That we had had some sort of thing, I guess not.
Not that I could find one on it.
As far as the lead.
Well, the continuous users. And this is what this is addressing, and it's like, it's almost like you're getting hit with a sledgehammer way too late. When,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
you know, like, we should have been like. Back when we did it the first time, we were saying like anybody over 10,000 should have been. Like, hey, man, why do you continually?
Present that in different ways.
Yeah.
And one of the councilmen was very.
We don't need to go there, it's fine. I wish.
Before it became a problem.
We also were trying not to raise rates, and I don't think we did a big rate increase. And I know people weren't happy at that.
We also are having a historically bad problem with our wells and a historically bad cash crunch.
Is, if you would have read that information, you'd give it, it's not just here, it's all over it's all over the state. I mean, I talked to my friend in Junction City, you know, just like she had mentioned, he's like, why are you turning off my water? Why you go 3,000 new apartments down there? Like, we don't have them. So it's just, anyway. I think I'm ready. So what are we, is it 2310 or 2311?
I'm cool, I'm a little flustered that we can't go over now, and I thought we were.
This was talking about declaring an emergency, and then the next one was actually gonna be the law, not. Because I was like, we still have this whole one to go over. But we don't, it's all.
But as I read it, the things in here are in there, so. Right, go ahead.
But
go.
you understand what I'm saying, a lot of times you look at something, you vote to move forward to initiate the second one.
Right.
You know, so I've been sitting here waiting to get to this back page, knowing that it has the same
Right.
lettering in there. To, pretty much, I mean, it's just rehashing the same thing over.
You know, one thing that Jeff and I talked about last night was, the well that Jackman has, we tested it on 36 gallons per minute. And with the trucking that we got coming in here, we only need 12 gallons per minute to make up to stop half of a truck. And so, you know, the biggest thing in my mind is we gotta keep moving on that. So that we can do away with all this emergency water restriction, all this stuff. We've got
Yeah, for goodness sakes.
I mean, I have my reserves about the Jackman well. We haven't even had a chance to really discuss how I feel about that. But anyway, I move that we adopt ordinance 2310 again, as written. So that we can fix our situation we're in.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
So how do our citizens know this? I know, having been an educator in my life and all sorts of things, you have to send out information several different ways to hit people. And I know people are gonna be surprised. I saw that thing on Nextdoor and one of the comments. How can we saturate to make people know this and to maybe have a little bit of history that, you know, our wells aren't doing good. This is our worst ever, you know, we have the best trucking possible, you know. I think a little bit of background, a little bit of explanation may help people plus saturate the message of what's going on.
More of the line.
Pardon me?
More of the lines.
Yes.
That you guys need to give out to the citizens that need understanding what you guys are doing. To understand how much your cost.
Yeah, I mean, I think we briefly talked about that in our newsletter about how much water we're trucking for the day. I mean, I think just to clear
thing would be like, hey, just an understanding, we're running a truck twice a week, five times a day. So what, 10 twice a week, 10 runs, we're pulling 3,500 gallons per run or whatever that is. And we're bringing in 50,000 gallons a week at the rate of, I mean, you could even throw in, it's costing us $10,000 a month.
You gotta recoup that, you gotta recoup what you're losing. If you're losing it. And so, as a citizen, you're gonna have to do some kind of adjust on some people to make it work for everyone.
And I think a lot of people don't really realize, I live on Westview, I see that truck every single day, several times. A lot of people have no clue that we're.
Well, see, that's where I'm at, I didn't know how much you guys are doing until, I heard thinking about it. Now, you guys are doing something that we shouldn't do. We need to be working on something that the money would be going to the trucking, it would be going to the things that need to be.
Well, that's why we raised the rate a lot of times, so we got a little extra money in our coffers to be able to help in situations like that or fix our wells and whatnot, and then all this gets wasted away on just bringing more.
Yeah, and we did have that historically bad cash crunch. I will say we did that extra $2 increase to the base rate. This year has been going into the reserve, that extra $2 goes. And this next week, we're actually using some of that reserve money. We're going to transfer it back in.
Hell cost as me, I would have thought $5 increase. Because then you think about it, you got that.
Well, it's not only $5, it's if you, that's every 2,500 gallons, so it's $47 at 27 and 47 at 5,000 and then 47 at 90. So it's like, so our bill, my bill went from $47 to 136. And that, it's triple it at every tier, so the next one up's gonna be 200. So even those people using the big ones and the
I
high.
don't understand the theory is.
So like what you said too is, these people that are high users and the ones that have fell behind on their bill, that we graciously still allow to, we work out payment plans. If they're still continuing to use high water and they haven't even caught up on their bill yet, I don't know how we address that. Yeah, I mean,
It's really important, I don't know how or who or what, but the fact that, we $700, but we paid X amount.
Paid over 1,200 plus the cost of the water. Well, over 1,200 for the truck.
I think our citizens need to understand that.
how do we put that out?
Maybe for
The
example,
whole thing about it, I mean, people here don't have that kind of money.
No.
We thought by raising the upper tier of the water, that it was gonna stop, it was gonna make people realize how much water they're using and conserve on it. But the ones that are using all that water, they just don't, they tend to have the money to pay for it.
And have these people got a whole new network set of work day? It wouldn't have gone as far as it did. It would have went 3 more weeks or 4 more weeks. When I see him, I give it a work day letter on the back, explain what most likely causes are. I give it my work number and message number, my SIM number. And my email and on that letter.
Well, I think this is a step in the right direction, unfortunately, but.
You think we need to make up something that we need to endorse? Then look, under these extreme conditions, we're losing money, we're gonna have to cap the water.
Some people don't care that it is unfortunately.
When the city goes bankrupt and they have to drill a well for 30,000.
And you get it from that.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, that's when it's gonna open their eyes. It's just not bad enough yet.
well, here's the thing, guess what your property value is, you have no water. Yeah.
You gotta have water on the property and sewers and.
But, I mean, those are all hypotheticals, I mean, like, people just think of human nature. you have a resource, you turn your water on, like,
It's worked like this the last 29 years, I'm sure we'll go the next 29.
yeah, you know, just, you know, I mean, it's,
I know the wells, that my grandparents all had wells, and they had to re-drill the wells and
well, even. Well, even then, I think in our city ordinances, if you were allowed to drill wells, you can't drill wells, can you? Because when you can't hook your well up to your house. I was under the impression you can't drill a well on your property.
You probably can't. I think that when we talked about it before, you remember when that guy came and he had a well and he
But
wanted.
yeah, it's just like my well. I wanted to use it.
for his
Yeah.
yard,
Mhm.
and we gave him the permission to do
Yeah.
that. You know, I've got 3 wells, I can water my.
I'm just saying fresh well. Like you can't come in and so I mean, even at that point, like.
No.
You get it before you.
But then, like, I mean, there's whole rules against that stuff too.
But if Sodaville goes under and fails, all the rules got to go out there.
When we put it on.
I think door tags telling that, you know, this is, because people may know, oh, when I went to work, people told me about some of the water issues, I hadn't heard about their own property. So I bet you that people in the streets, yeah, we've always had problems, but I think people need to know how bad it is. I see the door tags thing.
Even if they're not users, they're gonna say, well, maybe we better conserve a little bit if it's getting this bad.
Well, and possibly doing that as well. You know, people in small communities especially like to chat and the story keeps growing different all the way around. To get rid of some of the drama and negative comments,
Yes,
educate everybody, put them on the same page.
yeah, I agree.
See like this, I got this, and I can tell actually.
So maybe next week and when you're not gonna be here, we can work on something to get it out.
We do math.
Yeah, I'll take my.
I've gone around the door tag before. Back in the old days.
One thing we could do to cut down on that legwork is that we have email addresses for people, not everybody, we could email everybody in our system, an email, and go, hey, guess what, 7,500 is the limit.
That'd probably work just even better.
I suggest whatever letter we, as the staff come up with, run it through a data on that for proof it. Report it sound, people.
And then they do it to work well too, I don't know. Would be worth it. But
People read it. A lot of people who want Sodaville.
Alright, but I felt it like, I was going to be gone for a few days for the city recorders conference, including on a day when I was normally there, somebody was like, you have 2 people there, why aren't you, having the other guy man while you're gone, and this person doesn't even live in Sodaville.
and people just want
Alright. Hopefully I have to go over.
Adjournment. Yeah, somebody was to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn. This emergency meeting.
Thank you.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any adjourned?
I'm gonna do this really quick.